Most people live in a reactive mode, and they don't even realize it. They wake up and immediately check their phones, bracing for bad news. A challenge shows up and their body switches into survival mode. Anxiety, doubt, fear. That's the reactive mindset. And here's the catch: this mindset not only freezes decision-making, it also shapes identity based on whatever is happening around you. The cycle is always the same. Something goes wrong, emotional reaction kicks in, hesitation follows, and no action is taken. Napoleon Hill warned about this pattern. When we let emotions control our actions, we surrender the steering wheel of our lives. That's why real personal growth, true movement toward financial freedom, always starts with mindset. A positive mindset isn't something you feel only when life is good. It's a decision to make your thoughts stronger than your fears. That's when the real self-development begins. And right here is where the shift truly happens. Now imagine the opposite. Picture living from a projective mindset, a mental state where you act as if everything is already working in your favor, even when your reality hasn't caught up yet. Sounds crazy? That's where the real power is. You wake up and visualize success. You use creative visualization, just like Napoleon Hill motivation teaches, to program your mind before the world speaks. You're no longer reacting to life. You're projecting your belief onto it, and that changes your brain. Neuroscience shows that acting as if triggers dopamine circuits, enhancing your drive, confidence, and vision. You're not pretending, you're rehearsing. Rehearsing the identity you're becoming. This is at the core of modern mindset coaching. And when you get this, you realize that fake it isn't deception, it's preparation for manifestation. It's the language of the abundance mindset, spoken fluently by those who create their future with intention. Now let's bring this down to earth. There's a 5-step mental model that makes this mindset shift real. 1. Envision the outcome, not just a better life, but what it looks like, smells like, feels like. Picture the new job, the financial peace, the moment you no longer worry about bills. 2. Anchor the feeling, create a belief trigger. A power phrase like, "It's happening." A playlist that puts you in the zone, or a mirror ritual that boosts your posture. 3. Act as if, walk, talk, and choose like the future you. 4. Iterate, collect small wins, learn from feedback, pivot wisely. 5. Reflect and reinforce, journal every win, every shift in mindset. These aren't just cute ideas. They're the building blocks of a strong success mindset and a rock-solid prosperity mindset. And here's where it gets exciting. Because once you learn how to apply this in real-life situations, it becomes more than theory. So let's dive into that next. Most people never stop to question why they react the way they do. They just assume it's normal to stress out, panic, or overthink. But that normal is often just a repeated emotional pattern inherited from parents, culture, or past failure. And here's what Napoleon Hill teaches us. That pattern is not permanent. You can interrupt it today. And the interruption begins when you acknowledge the money mindset. The positive mindset, or even the abundance mindset, is not about having more. It's about responding differently. It's about deciding that your future doesn't need to wait for evidence. Your belief creates the evidence. That's the real flip, from unconscious reaction to conscious projection. The act as if concept may sound like pretending, but it's not about lying to yourself. It's about priming your perception. For example, when you wake up and affirm, "Everything is working out for me," your brain becomes biased to spot supportive events and dismiss distractions. That's called selective attention, and it's hardwired into your nervous system. The projective mindset leverages this. It trains your system to seek alignment instead of survival. And when you stack this behavior over days, weeks, months, you change your identity. You become a person who expects things to unfold in their favor, not out of arrogance, but out of trust. And this trust is the foundation of all wealth creation, because it keeps you moving through uncertainty with focus. Let's start with your career, because the workplace is one of the fastest mirrors for your mindset. Imagine walking into a networking event already assuming you belong in the room. That's Napoleon Hill's mindset in action. Before the event, pick an outfit that makes you feel powerful. It's not vanity, it's strategy. That's your armor. Then, enter the room with the belief that everyone there is waiting to meet you. Smile, speak first, make eye contact. Afterward, send personalized thank you notes that frame every connection as part of your unfolding success story. That's how you reinforce the abundance mindset, by acting like someone who is already in motion, already aligned with their purpose. This isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about projecting the future version of yourself with confidence. Now picture yourself facing a blank page, a moment every creative knows well. This is where the wealth mindset meets imagination. Instead of panicking over perfection, use the dummy paragraph method. Just write anything to get momentum flowing. Keep a printed page of past wins nearby, your own personal confidence bookmark. And don't underestimate the power of micro deadlines. Set a timer for 10 minutes and commit to output, not outcome. This trains your brain to take fast, bold action, a habit at the heart of every success mindset. Great creatives don't wait for lightning. They flip the switch again and again until the current flows. That's how you generate flow on command, and flow, by the way, is a magnet for wealth, ideas, and visibility. Finally, let's talk about personal growth, because that's where the real transformation happens. Start building role-play scripts in your mind. If conflict arises, I breathe, I listen, I respond, not react. That's your spiritual growth in motion. Create emotional buffer zones. Take 3 deep breaths before responding to anything triggering. This single habit can change the tone of your relationships, your workplace, even your self-talk. What you're really doing is reinforcing the spiritual awakening journey, choosing inner peace over impulsive pride. And here's the thing. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you're rewiring your identity. You're proving to your subconscious that you are no longer the victim of emotion. You are the architect of self-control. And wait until you see how this all connects visually in your brain. Let's take the idea of acting as if into your finances. Most people look at their bank account and wait to feel secure before they make confident decisions. But here's the twist. Wealth doesn't follow security, it follows identity. If you want to build a money mindset, start by treating every dollar like it's a seed of investment, not a leftover from survival. Speak about money with respect, not fear. Track your expenses like a CFO. Read books like The Psychology of Money or revisit Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich with a highlighter in hand. This behavior signals to your subconscious, I am someone who manages money well. That message alone changes how opportunities find you. Because the universe, as they say, doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to direction. And what about relationships? Yep, the projective mindset applies there too. Want better connections? Begin by assuming you're worthy of being heard, seen, and valued. Walk into conversations already knowing your presence matters. This isn't ego, it's self-development. Napoleon Hill often spoke about the power of the mastermind, surrounding yourself with those who uplift and inspire. But before attracting that kind of tribe, you must first model it. Be the person who listens with curiosity, who speaks with kindness, who holds boundaries with love. The more you act as if you're already in healthy, growth-oriented relationships, the more you magnetize those exact connections into your life. This is spiritual awakening in motion, choosing intentional energy before external validation. And now that you've seen these real-world examples, it's time to look under the hood and see how all this actually works inside the brain. Imagine for a moment what actually happens in your mind the second life throws you a curveball. Most people don't even realize the chain reaction. Stimulus comes in. The mind interprets it based on past fears or traumas. And suddenly you feel panic, self-doubt, or hesitation. But what if we could interrupt that sequence and rewire the pattern? That's exactly what happens when you install a success mindset, like Napoleon Hill taught. Picture a diagram in your mind. External stimulus enters. You pause, interpret it through your prosperity mindset, and choose to act with confidence instead of fear. Just this one switch can change your day, your decision, even your destiny. And when you repeat it, the nervous system starts to default to calm. That's real self-development in action, not wishful thinking, but neurological training. This process becomes even more powerful when you visualize it as a loop. You act as if, then get small results. These micro wins create a burst of belief. Maybe someone gives positive feedback, or you land that first sale, or you simply feel better about yourself. That win rewires your internal image, and then you act again with more certainty. That's the success feedback loop, and it's how every legendary performer, entrepreneur, or visionary builds real momentum. Napoleon Hill motivation wasn't about hype, it was about stacking action until your identity upgrades permanently. This feedback loop, repeated over time, transforms effort into evidence. And when you have evidence, you don't need motivation, you move with certainty. And that's when your wealth creation starts to feel inevitable. To reinforce this, try sketching your own mental map seriously. Take a piece of paper and draw it out. Stimulus, mindset filter, emotional state, behavior. Then draw two versions, one when you react with doubt and another when you respond with belief. You'll start to see exactly where your transformation needs to begin. That's the real mindset coaching work. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about rewiring the system with clarity and repetition. Think of your brain like software. Every time you act with purpose, you're writing new code, one aligned with financial freedom, spiritual awakening, and inner peace. And this leads us straight to the formulas behind all of this, because mindset isn't magic, it's math. Let's break it down even further. Think of your mind like a traffic system. Every external event triggers a signal: green for go, yellow for caution, red for freeze. The reactive mindset is full of red lights, fear, doubt, second guessing. But when you adopt the prosperity mindset, you start installing green lights where your old self used to hesitate. That's the power of visualization and feedback loops. Every time you visualize a positive outcome and then take a bold step aligned with it, your brain marks that as safe, repeatable, and rewarding. This rewires your nervous system, literally. Neurons that fire together, wire together. And this is where mindset coaching moves from theory into biological transformation. You're not just thinking differently, you're responding faster. Another diagram to picture: the loop of identity reinforcement. You act like the version of you who is wealthy, calm, creative, or bold. You get a small result, maybe a compliment, a new client, a moment of peace. That result becomes emotional data. Your subconscious says, "Oh, we're actually doing this now." Then you act again, but this time with more certainty. This loop creates a flywheel effect, where belief feeds behavior and behavior feeds belief. Napoleon Hill's entire method hinges on this. That success mindset is not a gift, it's a cycle. You can build it, you can engineer it, you can track it. And the best part? Once the loop gains momentum, it becomes easier to maintain than to quit. And that's when we plug in the formulas that simplify the entire game. Let's break down the math of mindset. Because yes, there's a formula to confidence, and it's simpler than you think. Confidence equals action times belief trigger divided by fear. Every time you take aligned action, no matter how small, while activating a belief trigger, you increase your internal sense of power. But here's the catch. If fear is high and belief is low, confidence stays shaky. That's why people stuck in hesitation aren't lazy. They're overloaded with fear and missing reinforcement. Napoleon Hill taught that belief isn't blind, it's built. And when you understand this equation, you start engineering your confidence instead of waiting for it to just happen. That's mindset coaching in motion: strategic, grounded, and replicable. Now let's talk about momentum. Another key formula is this: belief gain equals wins divided by time times reflection. You don't just grow by achieving things. You grow when you notice you're achieving. That's why journaling is a secret weapon for the abundance mindset. Every win, no matter how tiny, counts more when it's named and celebrated. So if you land a small client, keep your cool in an argument, or resist procrastination for a full day, write it down. This creates mental proof that your identity is evolving. Spiritual growth is never about perfection. It's about collecting small confirmations that you're not who you used to be. And the more you reflect, the faster your spiritual awakening journey accelerates. These formulas work because they bypass the ego and speak directly to your nervous system. You're showing your brain, through repeated signals, that it's safe to be powerful, that it's normal to succeed, that confidence isn't some mystical force, it's a byproduct of aligned repetition. When you understand this, you realize that your wealth mindset isn't a mood, it's a system. You can dial it up or down, adjust the variables, and measure the results. Just like a scientist in a lab, you get to experiment with your thoughts and track what creates expansion and what drains it. And once you master the formulas, it's time to plug them into a daily structure that actually fits your life. So let's map that out next. Let's make this real. Because mindset without action is like a car with no wheels. It might look good, but it's not going anywhere. That's why we start the day with a 5-minute visualization ritual. This isn't about seeing pretty pictures in your head. It's about generating a felt sense of success. Close your eyes and imagine how it feels to have peace about your finances, respect in your work, or deep alignment in your purpose. Let that feeling expand. This is how you prime your brain for a success mindset, by practicing the identity of the future you before the world even wakes up. Napoleon Hill would say, "The mind must be directed daily, or it will drift." And drifting leads nowhere. Next, break your day into micro-action blocks, 3 sessions of 10 minutes, that's all. 10 focused minutes to act like someone who already has the result. Want a wealth mindset? Use 1 block to write emails with boldness. Want spiritual growth? Use 1 to meditate and ask higher guidance what action feels right. Want financial freedom? Spend 10 minutes reviewing your income, planning offers, or studying market trends. These micro moments reinforce your belief system. They whisper to your subconscious, "This is who I am now." It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. And the more consistently you act as if, the more evidence you create. And that evidence becomes the seed of a new reality. Then, just before bed, take 2 minutes to journal your daily wins. No matter how small, write them down. Did you speak up in a meeting? Stick to your plan? Say no to something that didn't align? That's proof, and proof is fuel for the positive mindset. End your day by reinforcing who you're becoming. You'll sleep better, wake clearer, and gradually rewire your mind toward lasting transformation. Bonus tip: once a week, do something slightly scary. Pitch an idea. Post your truth online. Say what you mean in real time. This challenge exposure grows your identity faster than anything else. And it sets the stage for the science behind why all of this works, which we'll uncover next. Now let's play with the numbers a bit more. Think of fear as a weight. If your action is light and your belief is weak, fear will crush them both. But if your action is consistent and your belief trigger is strong like a power statement or emotional memory, then fear loses its gravity. That's why people who practice money affirmations daily often feel a mindset shift even when nothing external has changed. They're stacking belief until it outweighs resistance. Try this for 1 week. Before any task that scares you, say out loud, "This will work out better than expected." That's not just optimism, it's a neural priming device. It signals your brain to seek evidence of success. This is how the abundance mindset starts taking root, not just in thoughts, but in behaviors that stick. And here's a twist most people miss. You can also reverse engineer your results by looking backward using the belief gain equals wins divided by time times reflection. If your confidence is low, it's often because you're moving fast but not reflecting. You're stacking wins but not noticing them. That's where the journaling practice becomes gold. It transforms your daily hustle into measurable proof of growth. Want to increase your spiritual awakening journey? Reflect on how you handled discomfort today. Want to grow your wealth mindset? Write down what you learned from a financial decision, even a small one. Growth doesn't come from time passing. It comes from processing what time gave you. And when you live like that, it's only natural to build habits that move you forward daily. Which brings us to the next step, putting it all into motion with a clear action plan. Let's talk science, because acting as if isn't just a nice motivational slogan. It's backed by decades of psychological and neurological research. Studies in cognitive behavioral therapy have shown that behavior shapes emotion just as much as emotion shapes behavior. Meaning, when you act confident, your brain starts releasing neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, reinforcing that feeling. This is called embodied cognition, and it's one of the principles Napoleon Hill hinted at long before neuroscience caught up. It's also the core of every powerful mindset coaching program today. You don't wait to feel ready. You act until the feeling follows. That's not deception, it's neurological conditioning. And if that sounds complex, here's the truth. Your body is listening to your actions more than your words. Let's go deeper. In one Harvard study, participants who held power poses for just 2 minutes experienced measurable drops in cortisol, the stress hormone, and increases in testosterone, linked to confidence and motivation. Just by shifting your posture, you influence your prosperity mindset. Why? Because your nervous system responds to physical cues. The way you sit, stand, breathe, all of it is a feedback loop. And here's where it gets even more powerful. The moment you visualize success while engaging in those actions, your brain fires as if it's actually happening. This is how the subconscious gets reprogrammed. That's how you build not just a new thought, but a new identity. One rooted in self-development, emotional regulation, and spiritual awakening through experience, not theory. And this explains why repetition is non-negotiable. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire, is driven by frequency and emotion. That's why affirmations only work when they're consistent and emotionally charged. Saying, "I am abundant," once won't shift your world, but saying it every morning while visualizing your future, while taking bold action and writing down your micro wins, that's transformation. That's Napoleon Hill motivation translated into biology. It's how a money mindset becomes more than belief, it becomes behavior, and that behavior becomes results, which then become your new baseline. You're not forcing positivity. You're feeding the circuits of possibility. And if you've come this far, you're already equipped to use all ISO. But before we wrap, let's revisit the whole journey with clarity. Let's refine the way you journal your daily wins, because this is where the real rewiring happens. Don't just list what went right, write how it made you feel. What belief did that win reinforce? What would the old version of you have done differently? Made you feel. What belief did that win reinforce? What would the old version of you have done differently? That kind of reflection adds layers to your identity. Want to go deeper? Use color codes: green for action, gold for mindset shifts, red for moments of resistance you overcame. Over time, these pages become more than notes. They become evidence of your evolution. That's how the self-development process becomes tangible. You're not guessing who you're becoming, you're documenting it. And this record of progress becomes emotional fuel during those low-energy days where motivation fades. It's not hype. It's proof. And don't underestimate the power of that weekly challenge exposure. Choose one moment a week to face something mildly intimidating, but do it while holding the energy of it always works out. That's key. It's not just about doing hard things. It's about doing them with a wealth mindset. Pitch your idea, even if your voice shakes. Post that video, even if no one claps yet. Say no to that invitation that drains you. Each time you stretch yourself from a place of calm conviction, your identity expands. This is what Napoleon Hill meant when he spoke of desire backed by faith. You're not forcing outcomes, you're strengthening belief through motion. And if you follow these steps, day by day, you're going to start feeling something remarkable, that the process itself becomes more rewarding than the destination. But why does all of this actually work so well? Let's dive into the science. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and share if you like the content.